they want to use a period or a comma. And usually it's better that way, um, because they're able to specify, they want to end their sentence at this point. They might have a very long sentence because they want to describe something in detail. So I just usually recommend to them that they use the comma and the period, manually, which is saying it as they go along. The good thing about saying comma, or period rather, is whenever you say period in Dragon, it automatically makes the first word of the next sentence capital. So that's a good feature to have whenever a period is inserted or used in Dragon. Okay, and we'll go to the next screen. So basically, the Dragon bar. This is how the Dragon bar looks like. Normally, by default, it's docked on the top part of the screen. You can move it. I think what I did with mine is I had it float around because I wasn't sure whether it was being captured by the screen share recorder. But basically, this is how the Dragon bar looks like. The Dragon bar is the menu source from Dragon from here, and you can set up new users, set up or edit commands, train words, and view commands, and many other functionalities that we can use for Dragon. So the first part of the Dragon bar is actually the microphone buttons. The microphone can be accessed from the Dragon bar. So there's by default when you open up Dragon, and I'm just gonna go back to the previous screen. So as you can see here, the microphone icon is actually towards the left side. It's the left extreme side, so it's after the Dragon icon. As you can see, it's red and it's lying down horizontally. So it's on the horizontal, which means it's currently turned off. So just like in this particular screen, if it's green and it's vertical, it means the microphone is on, and if it's lying down or if it's horizontal, it means it's turned off. So you may have a question, how do we turn off the microphone? So there's a couple of ways. The easiest way would be to click on the microphone, click on it with your mouse. One left click would turn it on, and one left click would turn it off. Now, usually, most of the providers that I work with, especially with MFA and AMG, they have desktop computers and they have the 10 key or the number keypads. It will have a plus button there. Now the plus button on the 10 key part of the keypad, and the 10 keys, that part of the keyboard which only has the numbers on the right hand side, there is a plus key there. That is the easiest way I found so far for providers to turn on and off the microphone. So that's the second option, apart from clicking the microphone and clicking it again to turn off. Clicking on the plus sign once will turn on the microphone, and clicking on the plus sign again will turn off the microphone. Now, of course, once we have the microphone turned on, there are commands that, and some of you may have already heard of this, which is go to sleep, which means it mutes the microphone or temporarily turns off the microphone. What it does is, I don't have an icon. Let's see if we have it on the next screen. It doesn't display here, but basically it will look yellow, and the microphone will turn into a horizontal manner. So it's gonna turn into a 45-degree horizontal manner. It's gonna show in yellow instead of red. So what it is, if you say go to sleep, it will temporarily turn off the microphone and it will stop listening to your dictations. Now, if you want to turn on the microphone, if it's in on sleep mode, you can use the command wake up, and it will start listening. Another alternative is to stop listening. It will put the microphone into sleep mode, and if you want to have it listening again, you just simply say start listening. So these are different options. We usually leave it up to the user what they find is easiest for them, but by far, like what I've said, the easiest option would be to use that plus key on the number pad or on the 10 keys of their keyboard. Okay, does anybody have questions so far? Okay, we will go ahead to the next screen. Now, the next part, and this is just to the right of the microphone icon, it's called the volume status. The volume status is also on the Dragon bar, and red indicates, this volume bar actually moves like, you know how when we have equalizers, for those of you who have used equalizers where it goes up and down, this the volume sort of like moves, right, left, determines, the volume of your dictation of your voice. So if it goes all the way to the right, it indicates that your volume is too loud. Green indicates that your volume is just fine. If it's yellow, as shown here on the slide, it says, your volume is too low. So it tells you, whether your volume is just appropriate for dictation. Now on the Dragon bar, there's menus there. The first menu is actually the Dragon button. Now what the Dragon button does, again, it's just other options, it's just other ways to turn off and off the microphone. Now usually this part, I don't show this, I don't show this in detail to the doctors or the providers because they don't really need to know a lot of this. We're gonna do this for the purpose of the webinar so that we can be, more proficient in using the Dragon software. So basically, if you click on that Dragon option, it's just equivalent to the file. If you use Microsoft Word or any other Windows-based software, it's equivalent to the file menu. The Dragon menu is just like the file menu for other Windows-based programs. And basically, it just turns on and off the microphone. There's another command there from the menu that will ask you, if you want to turn the microphone on and off. It also enables you to open users if there's more than one users that are set up for that particular workstation. It also allows us to manage users and also manage vocabulary. So if you want to change the vocabulary from general medical to, let's say, internal medicine or family medicine, this is where we change it. It also allows us to open recent vocabularies and save user files. And of course, the exit option is here if they want to exit Dragon while in the middle of their session, or if they want to completely close out Dragon. Okay. Now, the next button is the Tools button. And from the Dragon bar, we can access the Tools button to basically go to the Accuracy Center. And the Accuracy Center is, pretty much a one-stop shop to make your dictations more accurate. It gives you tips on how to make your dictations accurate. It also lets us go to the command browser, which we will be going to later when we do a demo of the commands, or what we call the macros. We can add commands from here. It will allow us to add a new command, and anytime we add a new command, this pertains to the macros, which is a picture and text, or we can do what's called a macro recording. It also allows us to go to a dictation box, which is pretty much, if we want to train certain words, that's where the dictation box comes in. And it also allows us to access DragonPad. DragonPad is pretty much similar for those of us who have used WordPad or Notepad. It's just a text, a text or a word processing software where we can, dictate on it and then, do a little bit of, proofreading from there. We can also access administrative settings if a practice has the enterprise version installed. It allows us to access formatting and the options for Dragon. Now the next button is the words button, also from the Dragon bar. So it allows us to create new words if we want to train new words, and sometimes it's always best to train Dragon on difficult words, especially medications. In most cases, medications, like if you were to use metformin, for example, and Dragon does not recognize metformin, it's always best to create that word and train that word so that the next time that you dictate it, it's always going to pick up the right one. It allows us to view and edit words, train words, and import and export files as well. So if there's user files that need to be loaded into the system, we can easily import and export it. So what that is, if let's say you have a user file saved in another computer, you can easily transport it to another computer. And view recognition history, it allows us to view the different types of recognition that Dragon has done. And change modes, usually what I recommend is just to leave this under normal mode. As you can see, there is a dictation mode, command mode, numbers mode, and spell mode. If we try to change it to dictation mode, it will only recognize dictations. And if we put it on command mode, this is where the macros come in. So let's say, in the example I gave where the doctor has a template for a general physical consisting of 5 paragraphs, if we have it under dictation mode, it's not going to recognize that command or macro. So the usual recommendation is just to leave this on the default, which is the normal mode. And the next one is the sound button. From the Dragon bar, we can access the sound button to basically play back a recording, to read a recording, or to transcribe a recording. So that's what the sound button is for. Okay? And at this point, we can start to begin our dictation. So, as I have mentioned earlier, we can dictate into any type of document that allows free text. So, the document that we can dictate directly into electronic health records, into forms. We can go into unstructured notes. As a matter of fact, we don't have to be really into unstructured notes. We can actually use the V11 note. And because V11 has the note accumulator, for those of you who were able to attend yesterday's V11 note, and for those of you who have experience using V11 notes and supported V11 notes, we all know that doctors can manually type their dictations as opposed to using the forms if they're comfortable typing it. So at the bottom of that note authoring workspace where we have the note accumulator, we can just put that on that gray box and start dictating from there. So it works just perfectly fine on a V11 note as well. Now, we can use any word processing software such as Microsoft Word or the Corel, WordPerfect, any type of word processing software, and of course the Dragonpad. Anywhere where we can pretty much type, text, we can use Dragon. So it's not just limited to EHRs. If you're writing a report and you think you are going to be faster writing your reports by dictating it, then by all means, you can use Dragon. And it may actually make it faster for you to write, reports, or write, anything that has to consist of, maybe, you have to write something for 5 pages. You might find it easier to dictate and then proofread your reports from there on. Now, another important item or topic that I wanted to discuss about Dragon is correcting mistakes. So when we dictate and when we see Dragon makes a mistake in transcribing or capturing your dictation, we our recommendation is we have to, that the user has to correct it immediately. Now, there is a command that that is typically used in Dragon, which is called scratch that. Scratch that erases the last word, and usually we recommend that that users try to dictate it, and